Kit, how are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Chesley, how are you?
I'm excellent. Before we start about your new show, congratulations on it, by the way. I gotta ask, how is being a new dad, especially in this day and age during COVID with everything going on?
It's pretty wonderful. I mean, it's full on. I mean, they tell you, but they don't tell you, if you know what I mean.
So many
Everyone
things and
tells you.
surprises you're finding out.
Yeah, you're like, people go, yeah, it's a lot. And you're like, I know, come on, I'll be fine. And then you have a baby and you're like, no, it really is a lot.
Like
But
no sleep.
yeah, well, I'm doing all right. He mercifully, he's a good sleeper. So yeah, we're very happy. We're very in love, and it's all gravy, as they say in the UK.
Well, good, good. I'm glad to hear about that. And congrats again. Like so exciting. But let's talk about your episode because it's so cute. Tell me about like what people will see in this beautiful love story.
Yeah, so it's the one episode in the series that deals directly with the pandemic, and it's about two people who meet on a train and decide not to switch numbers, and they go their separate ways, thinking they'll meet up in 2 weeks, and of course the pandemic goes global, and everything gets locked down, and it's about them trying to find each other, and it's also about, on a deeper level, the choices we made during that pandemic of selfish and unselfish choices, and where the line lands and where you should morally lie on it. And I think that's a really interesting part of this story that it investigates. I enjoyed it a lot. I loved working with Lucy. I loved working with Jack. They're great actors. John Carney, the director, is brilliant, very creative. The whole thing's funny and light and a bit of a fresh air for everyone who might not want to watch something too dark about the pandemic. It's a lighter version of what we've been going through.
I agree. When you get that funny surprise of like, the surprise that all of us were in, that like we thought this pandemic was going to be a few weeks and then it was like over a year. So I think it's very real in that sense, but also real in that, like you mentioned, like they don't get each other's numbers and they say they're sort of old school. Kid, you're kind of old school too, aren't you? Like you don't have any social media accounts. You were married in a castle. Do you have electricity? Do you have a washer dryer? How are things at home?
I There's been a flood back near where I live, so God knows if we've got electricity. I don't have social media. I It's not for any reason other than I think it would be terrible for me. I think I think it'd be awful for my mental health. I know I'm quite obsessive person. I think I'd obsess over it. I think it'd be a bad idea. And I think that's one of the things I liked about this piece is that he's a bit like that. Even though he works in tech, and in advertising, like there's a part of him that wants to reject that. And I respected that about the character. And I thought it was in many ways the series is called Modern Love, but this piece was the sort of antithesis of Modern Love. It even references Strangers on the Train. It has this 1940s motif that comes through. And I kind of loved that. I loved the idea of two people rejecting all their devices, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and how much of that actually happened in like your own life? Like when you first met your wife, like did you immediately get her number or were you more like your character and like I'll wait a little bit, let things be a little more old school?
We were stuck in absolutely nowhere and at the end of the world in Iceland. We didn't need to get each other's numbers. We were in these same hotel. Like I think the bare minimum is trying to get someone's number. I think that's okay.
Yeah.
That's where they fall down in this one. I would say that they maybe made a mistake there.
A little bit, a little. Well, and not to give away a spoiler. I mean, there's a little bit of an Easter egg in your episode, sort of related to Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, that joke is one of the main reasons I did the role.
Oh, really? So that
I
joke was
read
in
that.
there before you were a part of it?
Yeah, I read that, and John, the director, said, "Look, we don't have to have that in here." And I went, "No, John, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this role. I think it's hilarious."
Oh my God, that is perfect. That's well. And speaking of Game of Thrones, they're doing a prequel. I hear they've already started shooting it. Are you going to check it out when it comes out?
Definitely watch it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's being run by one of my very good friends, Miguel. So I think that there's a kind of rawness to it of like, oh God, it's carrying on, and but I will definitely be watching.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Well, and even beyond Game of Thrones, well, obviously Game of Thrones and you were done. But this movie, beyond this, your episode in this series, you've also got the Eternals coming up. You've been a busy man. Like, what can you tell us about the movie once it comes out?
Well, we shot it a while ago because it was shot just before the pandemic, and obviously everything's been shunted back. It's really going to be quite a thing. I don't know what I can and can't say about it, you see, but I had a great time on it. I'm very, very, I feel very honored being part of that universe and getting to play the character that I play. And I think it's going to be a great movie. It's got such a cool, big, diverse, excellent cast that I think.
Yeah, well, a great cast and a great director. I mean, Chloe Zhao, very successful in this last award season.
Yes, yeah. I mean, about as successful as you can get. She's fantastic, and she shoots things beautifully. So it's a bit of it's like a departure. I think it's a new start for Marvel and the way they shoot things. Even by selecting her as a director, it was making quite a kind of statement about things. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are excited as a Marvel fan. We are excited for it. Cannot wait to watch you, especially in it. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm out of time, Kit, but it was so great to talk with you. Thank you so much. And congrats again, like on this series, your episode in this series and your family. So sweet.
Thank you, Cheslie. Lovely to talk to you.
Thank you for watching. If you want more extra, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll never miss a video.